The woman tied up the man's arms and legs. Then she used glue to stick his mouth shut and firmly pressed his lips together, leaving no gap at all. Next, she injected milk and cola into his body, clogging the man's blood vessels. The man was in so much pain that he kept twisting his body, but the more the man struggled, the more excited the woman became. However, the woman still didn't feel satisfied. She dripped candle wax onto the man's chest. The man was in excruciating pain, but couldn't make a sound. Finally, when the woman had had enough fun, she put on a transparent raincoat and killed the man completely. In the evening, the woman prepared a sumptuous dinner for everyone. The neighbors all praised how delicious the woman's cooking was. Only the landlord, David, didn't dare to take a single bite because David knew that these dishes were not ordinary. In fact, David was also a pervert. She had already installed surveillance cameras in every room and monitored the every move of each tenant every day. She even made detailed records of each tenant's hobbies. The tenant in room 1 was a father and daughter. On the first day they moved in, David noticed something was wrong with the father, because the father always looked at his daughter in a strange way. The tenant in room 2 was Kelly, who worked in a nightclub. She would bring a different man home every night, disturbing everyone in the whole building. The tenant in room 3 was a PE teacher named Jack. He, like David, was a voyeur. Sometimes he would secretly sneak into Kelly's room, sleep in her bed, and even lick her toilet. After that were the tenant in room 4, the otaku John, and the tenants in room 5, John and Mike. And what puzzled David the most was the tenant in room 6, Lisa. Her room was filled with red suitcases, but they were never used to hold anything. So, out of curiosity, when Lisa was not at home, David secretly slipped into her room. David was curious and was about to open the red suitcase, but at that moment, Lisa suddenly came back. David quickly hid under the bed. Lisa brought a man into the room. David thought he was going to witness an exciting scene, but unexpectedly, the man collapsed in the bathtub. Then Lisa came back and bent down to pick up the clothes on the floor. Clearly, she saw David but pretended not to. Then Lisa put on her clothes and went out. At this time, David, who was frightened, came out from under the bed. He rushed back to his room and called the police, but just as the call was connected, he hung up. At this moment, David's perverted curiosity welled up. He wanted to see what crazy things Lisa would do next. So, he stared at the screen and watched the whole process of the murder. The next day, David deliberately ran into Lisa on the rooftop. The two of them kept discussing the ugliness of human nature. Encouraged by Lisa, David became even more perverted. At that moment, David decided to expose the ugly sides of all the tenants. David went to the pharmacy and bought an aphrodisiac for pigs. Then he soaked mosquito coils in it and finally distributed them to each tenant. And then the show began. This is a Chinese movie called The Tenants Downstairs. I strongly recommend that you watch the original movie.